Hi YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren Coker and you have reached the channel for the Bipolar Mama, a blog which I write about my daily life, living with bipolar disorder, being a mom and wife, and playing roller derby. Today we're going to do something a little different. Last year I did a little audition for a piece for the show Listen to Your Mother. Is a monologue production. Unfortunately I didn't make it, but the piece I want to read is an excerpt, is the letter I wrote to my children explaining my disorder. A lot of people don't ask, like, well, how do you deal with having children and having bipolar disorder? And I'll be honest, it's very difficult most days, because especially my children are young. They're currently 5 and 3. So it's kind of hard to explain to them. My 5-year-old is a little more easier to explain things to as he gets older, but the 3-year-old kind of just doesn't care. Not that he doesn't care, he just doesn't understand. So if it's not something he comprehends, he doesn't care. At the time, my kids were 4 and 2 when this happened. I started going to see a therapist, and my 5-year-old thought I was sick, so he got very, very concerned. And yes, I do have an illness. I do have a potentially deadly illness. People don't seem to understand the severity of bipolar disorder. The common cause is death is completion of suicide. It does happen, and it could happen to me. So I had to explain to him why we were going to a therapist and how a therapist works. And my explanation is, when it gets really loud in my head, the doctor helps me. Of course, at the time, my 4-year-old thought the doctor was going to drill a hole in my head to let it out, and I explained to no, that I have to talk it out. So for the longest time, my children called my therapist the loud doctor for like a solid year. It wasn't a therapy. We weren't going to therapy. We were going to see the loud doctor. And in that, I kind of wrote them a letter kind of explaining to them, you know, when they get older, what is really wrong with me and why we really do go to the therapist. My husband travels for work, so sometimes they have to come with me to therapy. They don't have much of a choice. We usually used to go right before I went to practice for roller derby, so it was kind of therapy, roller derby, and then we'd come home for the evening. So I'm going to read you the letter that I wrote to my boys. My sweetest loves, Daniel and Dylan. First, I want to let you know that you're both the light of my world. There is nothing in my life I would change if it meant never having the both of you. I know that sometimes you may be confused about what's going on with me. Some days it may feel like that you have 2 different moms in one person. Sometimes I'm the mom that reads stories and plays pretend, the mom that colors and snuggles on the couch. However, sometimes I'm the mom that cannot get off the couch no matter how much you beg. It's not because I don't want to. God, do I want to. It's just I just can't. Then there are days where I can't get my mind grows so loud that I go to sleep at 3 a.m. and you're up at 7 a.m. I am short and snappy, and I know deep down you don't understand what's going on. You see, my dears, your mommy is sick. I have something called a mental illness. The chemicals in my head aren't the way they should be. It's why you see me take those pills before bed. It's also why I go to what's called the loud doctor. This is what helps me bring me balance so I can be the mommy I want to, most of all, the mother you need me to be. Yes, I know that one day they will get looks of pity like those children, other children with sick parents, but it's not the same. No, it will not be. Those poor boys may have to go without a mom one day. How hard it must be to watch their moms to fight so hard. No, it will be the look of pity in a different light. Those poor, poor boys, how they must deal with a selfish mother who can't get herself together. To think how they must suffer to have a mother too lazy to get out of bed and care for herself. Sick my ass. She just needs to stop being sad, flighty, irresponsible, unreliable. She just needs to get past this illness and put her big girl panties on. Please don't get angry. People just don't understand. Some still believe it's just make-believe and you can just snap right out of it. All we can do is help educate and move on. I know this is all unfair. I know you didn't ask for any of this. I understand. Neither did I. Unfortunately, mental illness is cruel and unfair. The cruelest of all is there's no cure for me. Every day is a fight, but always remember that seeing your sweet faces is why I keep fighting. Please know that if I ever give up, it is not your fault. It's not because you weren't loved enough. It wasn't because you didn't love me enough. It wasn't because you weren't strong enough for me. And most of all, it wasn't because I didn't love you both. I want you to know that the love I was capable of giving, I didn't know the love I was capable of giving until I had each of you. If for any reason this comes to an end, it's because I grew tired and weak to keep fighting. The most important thing I want you to remember is none of this is your fault. I love you more than I am capable of putting into words, and there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness, seeking help, or talking about it. There is a good genetic chance that one or both of you will have bipolar disorder. You can blame your crappy genes. I allow you. But please, please never ever blame yourself. You are loved beyond belief, even if the days there may not feel like it. Remember, you can always talk to Dad and I because we really do understand. Love you both, Mom. And this is the hardest part about having a mental illness, is knowing that it's real. It's real, and one day your children are going to have to deal with it face to face. They're either going to go through it themselves, or they're going to have to continue to watch you struggle. And it's hard for them, and it's hard on everyone. And I wish there was some sort of magic secret in which I could tell you that it gets better, it gets easier, but it doesn't. You just have to keep trying, but it's worth it. I would not trade my children for anything. They seriously are the light of my life. They are my everything. Also with my husband, the both of them. I would not trade anything out of the world for my kids. I do my best by my kids, and they still, at the end of the day, love me. No matter how many bad days I have, my children love me as I am. There is no greater acceptance that I have ever felt than with my own children. And the idea that one day, people will judge them for who I am breaks my heart. And the idea of them ever having to go through what I go through breaks my heart. But I know that I'm raising them to speak up and speak out and talk to me and my husband if they ever have a struggle. So I know that even though I didn't have the resources because I didn't know, I'm going to give my children those resources and help make for them a better life and help, fight the idea of the stigma. What do you do if you have a mental disorder to help make your children understand? Just leave your answer in the comments below. If you want to, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. Thank you.